Uh, Thank you everyone for attending this meeting. I have decided to make it a very interactive thing. So there is a one-page presentation I have. Basically, I'll put that up, and we will basically be discussing that one page. Yeah. So let me put this up first. Aparna, you will have to allow me to share.
Yeah, just a moment.
Yeah, 1 second, please. Okay, great, excellent. So I think before we get into these, there are just 5 questions which one has to answer when you are pitching to, for a seed capital round or a venture capital round or a Series A, Series B, Series C funding. The principles remain the same. So I think before I start, I would like to ask some of you, why do you want funding? Is it because everybody is raising capital, or what is the reason? Can any of you tell me what is the reason that you want to raise funds?
May I answer the question, please?
Yeah, please. Aditi, little louder. I can't hear you.
Hi, this is Aditi. So
better now.
currently we are from a startup stage. We are scaling up to a growth stage. So
Right.
we have expanded to so I am into my business is called the Dance Bible. We are a dance wear brand in India. So we sell dance clothes, particularly ballet dance. We started with ballet dance, expanding slowly to different dance style categories.
Right.
For few dance styles, there's a formal training, classical training. So there's a recommended dance wear that you have to wear.
Right.
So now we're scaling up. We need to expand to more product categories. We are still a team of say 2+1. So we need to invest in our resources. We need to invest in our automation processes, in our marketing. So for all that, we've come to a stage where we do need looking for outside funding to expand drastically. So that's one of the primary reasons.
Okay. So Nidhi, are you profitable right now?
Yes, sir. So Aditi, yes, sir. So
Aditi,
currently we are. So we've been in business since 2017 mid, and
Right.
we were profitable in financial year 2019-20 and 2021 as well.
So my question is, I mean, again, I'm just thinking aloud right now. If you are
Sure.
profitable, why do you need funds?
So we are. It's not a very huge profit. We are still not, as founders, we've still not taken salaries. Say last year we did about 5 lakhs of profit, which was reinvested into the business, which went into product expansion and designing and manufacturing. But to expand to a greater scale, because we were the only dancewear brand in India, say about till 2 years back. But we see small competitors coming up, and so that we don't want to give away our market share, and to capture that we do need investment, is what I feel.
Okay, good. Any other anyone else who can tell me why they want investment?
Yes, am I audible, sir? Nidhi here from NutriTattva.
Yes, Nidhi.
So we have the proof of concept. We have launched our 4 snacks, rather I would say 6. We withdrew, 8 snacks. We withdrew 4 of them because we didn't have funds to launch and properly promote them as in food it should be. Because in food category, as you very well know, you have to be very visible. And it's a new category, so one has to do appropriate amount of sampling. Yeah, because so we are in healthy snacks, and the market is currently growing at a very fast pace. And also because of pandemic, people are more conscious and mindful about what they eat, how much chemical or preservative is on their platter. So and also because during this work from home scenario, snacking has kind of become like consuming mini meals.
Right.
And since we have the proof of concept about, we kept distribution and sales directly in our own hands. So we have sufficient know-how. I won't like to boast, but we know what categories will move because if Delhi NCR can be considered a sample market, so we've been present in 100 plus outlets at one point of time, and then we have also been present on e-commerce channels, and we know that with right kind of investments and development in our business, we can reach more than Delhi NCR. I mean, easily in 3 cities we can launch because we have identified the right channel partner also. So that's why we think that this is our right time to invest and scale up our operations.
Right. Okay. Good. I think both convincing reasons. So just couple of things that I would like to tell you, and I'm sure most of you are aware of it. When you raise external funding, there can be 2 types. One could be debt and one could be equity. When you raise debt, it is basically आपने कर्जा लिया है, बैंक से लिया है या कहीं से लिया है और उसको इंटरेस्ट के साथ वापस देना है. The other is equity, wherein you forego part of your ownership, right? So one should always be mindful of the fact that when you are foregoing ownership, you are also foregoing a lot of rights. Yeah. So for instance, अगर आपकी stake 51% से कम हो जाए, so there are so many decisions you can't take. There will be a board, there will be so many things, right? So my suggestion to all entrepreneurs is, unless it is really needed, today it is a fad कि हम भाई equity raise करते हैं. But otherwise, keeping control, like the old-fashioned business houses who would never sell equity, they would always take a loan and pay interest on it. That is sorry. Yeah, I'm just sharing the screen again. Aparna, you'll have to, yeah. Yeah, can everyone see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So we were at basically the point that when one should go for equity funding. So equity, as I said, I don't know, I think you might have missed out part of it. Equity makes you give up certain rights, particularly if you fall under 76% and then if you fall under 51%. So ideally, if there is not a big need, it is better to, and if your business model is profitable, it is better to borrow from financial institutions, banks, and repay it after a time, and probably at some point of time go for equity infusion at a much later stage. But yeah, at some point of time, what we feel is that bank को वापस interest देना है, उससे अच्छा है कि हम equity partner ले and then we share this. Now, point number 1, what do people look for? The first and foremost thing is they will look for the big idea. आपकी जो business है, इसका जो idea है, is it unique? Is it different? Or is it just the same thing in different form? Yeah. So, for instance, let me ask you a question. Suppose there is somebody who wants to enter the atta business. Do you think the person will be able to raise money? Wants to sell atta?
May I answer this question, sir?
Yeah, please.
See, unless a startup is doing something different, because the underlying principle of startup, from my understanding, is just disruptive. Unless you come out with something totally new, or you are providing solution to a problem, a specific problem. I don't think one should think about raising funds, because a product which can be copied very easily and relaunched by many others. So unless you have some breakthrough solution, either in product or service, one cannot replicate it everywhere. For example, I'll give example from our industry. So roasted seeds and nuts, a lot of players are doing it pan India,
Mhm.
whether it is Nutty Gritties or Happy Low down north, and then there are some other brands down south. But
Right.
the product that we have, we have one unique product that my founding partner has developed. So based on that, we are banking upon raising funds because,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So that's a good answer. But let me tell you that it is possible to have a big idea in anything. Even if you are selling atta chal dawal, atta dal chawal, you can still have an idea in terms of, it is not just the product. See, we often confuse that, the ideas have to be around the product. Not necessarily. The idea can be around supply chain. The idea can be around distribution. The idea can be around packaging. Anything that is unique and different, right? Can be, for instance, when, Big Basket started, that we will deliver FMCG products to the homes. It was nothing new except that the supply chain had been completely altered. Yeah. So the idea can be, it is not necessarily a product idea. It can be a product idea. It can be a concept idea. It can even be an emotion idea. Yeah. For instance, I'm just thinking aloud. If somebody, I don't think anybody has thought about it, but somebody is able to manufacture high quality Indian flags that are self-destructible, or, they kind of, because otherwise after 15th August, you see a lot of flags lying on the road. बहुत बुरा लगता है वो देख के. So maybe if somebody could make an Indian flag which after use could self-destruct, just a loud thought. So what I'm saying is that the idea necessarily does not have to be product idea, but it has to be unique, it has to be different, and as Nidhi rightly said, it should be such that it is not easily copyable. Yeah, I think somebody is asking a question. Okay.
Yeah.
Ramakrishna was asking a question.
Yes.
Yeah, Ramakrishna.
So, hi, this is Ramakrishna, and we are from startup of Gully Trends. It's a fashion e-commerce.
Right.
So, my point of view for getting anything, so from the long part of time, the agenda would be making the users very lazy. That's a point of business. Because when I've seen some of the startups like Katabook, so basically most of the people have been noting down on the papers or maintaining the account books and all. Suddenly this app came into existence and eradicated some of the things where people becoming very, what it can be helpful in many different ways. And also there is a point that whenever your user getting lazy or he's flexible in sitting one place and he's able to do everything, whatever it is needed, it is the main pain point we are resoluting. And that's where your business comes out. So my point is that basically I'm working from past 3 years on the same point, and we have got all the fashion things at one place as a marketplace where if you can sit in your home or anywhere using the technology, using the traditional business, we are expanded in such a way that you can get the ready-made with a customization for your fashion. So that's a point I wanted to make it around.
Okay, good. I have seen similar models in some of the pitches I have attended. So yes, see, technology is, I have deliberately not put technology here because technology is now a much abused word. Now, let's understand technology now is going to be there everywhere. Whatever you do, you have to use technology, right? So unless it's a technological breakthrough like Google, we would not like to say that technology is one of the pillars of pitching it, because technology anyway has to be there. Whatever you do, you have to use technology in this case.
Yeah.
So that's about the big idea. Any questions, any queries on the big idea? As I said, how it is unique, how it is different, and how it is not copyable. Any questions on that?
So basically, if you...
Okay, Ramkrishna, please go ahead.
Thank you. So actually, big ideas on the technology or anything, but when you're combining the traditional business with the technology, which is coming in future, so how it could helpful for the users? Because some of the pain points.
So as I said, if it's a technological breakthrough, something which has not happened before. So let's say somebody says, "Bhai, I have an app and I will place orders through app." Now that is common; everybody is doing it. But if it is some kind of a technological breakthrough which nobody has done before, then you will get funding for your idea itself. You don't need to go to the next model at all. Yeah, simply people will see your idea and then put money behind it, right? But for normal use of technology to sell your products, that is something which everybody expects now. It is not a unique idea. Yeah, for instance, I'll say that I'll create an app, I'll go online, I'll have so much traffic coming, I'll use Instagram, I'll use Facebook. That is normal, everybody's doing it. Yeah. But if you have a technological breakthrough, which has not happened before, and it is going to transform the way something is being done, then you will get money for your idea straight away. You don't need to go to the next steps. Right?
Yes. Because I mean, we were having a roadmap. I'll just give you that we are having a roadmap where a physical shopping experience can become a virtual shopping experience in near future through your mobile. So what you're thinking out of it?
Absolutely. For garments, you're saying, for garments particularly, or every product?
No, for garments. At present, we are looking into the fashion.
So I have seen one gentleman who has developed some technology wherein you can try products. I mean, like if you want to wear a shirt, all you have to do is you have to, give your basically face dimensions or body dimensions in front of a camera, and the shirt will be actually put on your body, and you can see how it looks. Yeah, so you don't need to visit a store. So such people are there, like you are working, there are other people also working. Yes, these are great ideas. Yeah, this is something which has never happened.
Because I mean, we are building a base where we can
same.
I'm sorry?
Lenskart is also providing the same kind of things where you can try their frames over the one face.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, if these things really take off, then I think shopping will change. Of course, there will be old-fashioned people like me who will not buy. I don't buy any clothes online unless I touch, feel them, wear them. I don't like. But obviously, we are now the passing generation. The new generation will like to do new things, right? So, right. So the first point, I think we closed that, which is, your idea has to be unique, it has to be different, and it has to be somewhat not copyable. See, every idea is copyable, but it has to be somewhat not copyable, or at least the competitors will take time to copy it. By that time, you will get a headroom, right? Yeah, any more questions there? I think there are some questions.
Yeah, Ashish wants to ask you, like he wants to get something cleared. Like
yeah,
product versus services. Yeah.
Let's take the last question.
Yeah, which one follow better equity funding, product or service?
It is either can be, but basically, if it is a product or it is a service, the idea has to be strong. Yeah. So, for instance, if I say that I am going to launch the best potato on earth, yeah, then that idea may not work unless that potato is really unique. Yeah, it is really made from some technology which is unique and it has health benefits and all that. But your idea has to be unique. It doesn't matter it's a product or
service. So, sir, good morning. Ashish here.
Yeah.
So, I am from Digi Honor. We are the India's first digitized integrated PropTech solution. Sir, what I see, most of the companies start with the product. Like if you see even Tata and Maruti, initially they were all product-based company. They were only limited to, making cars or making commercial vehicles, but later on they expanded into services also, and they are getting a very good margins there. We see Apple also, initially they were only limited to manufacturing product, but now they got their services and everything. Now they are in OS and MI, we can see. So I just want to know, being a founder, sometimes we wonder, generally what is the life cycle? I see most of the companies which even start with the product, like Google, you can say, but now Google is coming more into consumer day-to-day operations, whether they are working on multiple set of services also, because the margins are, I guess, more. And if we see HP, IBM, later on, all they expanded into services. Any thought on that, sir?
Yeah, so I think that's a natural cycle. When the economy changed from brick and mortar economy to integrated internet economy, the changes happen. If you see India also, I mean, if you see 20, 30 years back, anybody coming into business, it had to be a product. You buy something, you make a product, you sell it, and you get margins. In the last 20, 30 years, particularly starting with banking, the services sector has got revolutionized. And I think with the internet coming, services have really got a fillip. For instance, I also run a services company. We don't have any product, we have services. But that is based on our own skills we have acquired over the last 2.5 decades. I don't think, in fact, if you are cash strapped, it is better to go into a service. Because product needs investment, product needs capital, product needs environment. Yeah. In a country like India, it is not easy to do product. It is easier to do service. Having said that, it doesn't matter. You can go from product to product. You can go from product to service. You can go from service to product. Anything is possible. Some guys go ulta also. Yeah. So for instance, Reliance right now is doing the JioMart, which is a service. I can guarantee you in 10 years down the line, they will go backward and they'll start manufacturing. So
Yeah,
there will be a point of time.
DMart is one of the great examples. They started with the services, later on they paid. Even the Central.
Yeah, DMart is a little different example, but what they do is private label. That's a slightly different thing. But knowing Reliance, I mean, knowing that company, their philosophy, once they get scale in the front end, they will go and integrate it with the back end. That is exactly what they did with polyester fiber. What Dhirubhai Ambani did, that's how they
For example, could be Ola, sir.
Yeah, Ola could be another example. Ola is a very good example. So now they are coming with electric
They are
scooters.
coming with bikes.
Yeah. Okay, I think we should move to the next point because it's already half an hour. I have time only till 12. So then, sorry?
One question can I ask?
Yeah, please, last question.
Actually, what I understood that if there is a potential to sell in a market and the idea is something which is cannot be easily copied, it's almost okay for going for a funding and all things. But the main question, people who are not from the same background or similar background in terms of raising the money and all, because whoever is coming in as a startup, for them, more or less, it will be a new place. So the major question or major hurdle comes that how to get opportunity to pitch, and after getting the opportunity, it comes that how we are going to pitch. So the first problem is that how to get opportunity to pitch itself.
So, right, what I'm told is that 80 or to 90% of the pitches fail. Only 8 to 10% of the pitches succeed, right? So, first is how to get an opportunity. I'll try to sum it up. It's a very long subject. I think first and foremost, if your idea is good, look for some seed funding from somewhere. It could be friends, relatives, well-wishers, anybody. Yeah, look for some seed funding from which you can take the business to a certain turnover. Now, once you are at a certain turnover, your business model is proven. Then you know that this business model is working. Now, only thing I need to put is little more money. That is when you go to venture capitalists or private equity funds, who obviously, if they put in capital, they will not put it just like that. Remember, they are also professionals. They are answerable to their boards. So what they do is they will look at the best idea and put money. But to start with, for seed capital, you should always look at friends, relatives, high net worth individuals, some people who believe in your idea. For instance, I know somebody who has just started a startup in Jodhpur, and he has raised around 3 crores locally in Jodhpur town. It's a small town, but the person has raised that amount of money. Yeah. The reason being that the gentleman has a previous startup in Jodhpur, which is very successful, which he has done with his own money. Right? Okay, we move to the point number 2. Then it is the business model. Now, business model, aapka kya hai? Is it scalable? Scalable means if you are doing 5 lakhs a month today, can it go to 5 crores a month in next 2 years or next 1 year? Yeah, that is one. The second thing is, at what point will it be profitable? Right? Sometimes we go with pitches with business models where, like, for instance, we say that Look at Zomato, look at all these things. They don't make any profits, but their scalability is very high, right? So the investors will be looking at your model. Is it a good model? Is it a profitable model at some point of time? And is it scalable? तो अगर मैं सपोज मेरा मॉडल है कि मैं 10 रुपए में चीज खरीद रहा हूँ, 8 रुपए में बेच रहा हूँ और कस्टमर थोड़े थोड़े एक्वायर कर रहा हूँ, देन दैट्स अ डेड मॉडल. नोबडी इज गोइंग टू इन्वेस्ट इन दैट. बट अगर मैं 10 रुपए में खरीद रहा हूँ और मैं 8 रुपए में एक्वायर बेच रहा हूँ और मैं कस्टमर रैपिडली एक्वायर कर रहा हूँ, then we know that at some point of time these customers can bring me revenue. I'll take the money up to the price up to 12 rupees and I'll be profitable. So that is something which the people will be looking at, your scalability, and definitely at some point of time the business actually profitable. Business model that has no profit at the end of the day is not something where anybody will put money. Any questions on what is a business model?
Sandeep, I have a question going back to point number 1.
Yeah.
And 2 both together.
Who is
That
this?
you said, okay, seed funding, okay, especially when someone is into product and the product is not very unique. Okay, everybody asks for a unique or a different product or an idea, but we also know that in the initial stages of business, when you're trying to pitch in a very unique product or a service, it does take a huge amount of time for it to penetrate into the market. So why doesn't this big idea have can be a common one which can be easily sold in the market? So what do we do if we don't have a unique product or service? Say for my example that I have been into soap making for last good 3 years, and I did a lot of mistakes also in terms of maybe understanding the market or this or that. There's so many things that we learn through our own mistakes as well. So now when it comes to scalability, and I have not had any strong seed funding so far, it's all, whatever we have generated the revenue, we've put in back to the business. Right. So what do we do in such case?
Okay, so Akshita, I'll give you where are you based, Akshita?
It's in Bangalore.
Oh, in Bangalore. Okay, I'm also in Bangalore, by the way. Okay, so let me give you a example of one more company which started something like you. So this is a company I can't name for confidential reasons. They started a product which was kind of, I wouldn't say unique product, but it was new to India. Yeah, this was in the adult hygiene space. So the product is very simple to manufacture. You just have to put a manufacturing line and make it, but nobody had done it in India before. So they came up with this line and they struggled for 14, 15 years, built up 100 crore turnover with bank funding, with reinvesting their profits, with some investment from friends and relatives. And then they got their first round of funding, which was because they had already created a certain turnover. Subsequent to that, they entered categories which are huge categories, but very competitive, like baby diapers, sanitary napkins, and stuff like that. Today, they are a 600, 700 crore company. They probably will be 700 crores this year end. And recently, PE fund put 500 crores in that company. Right? Now, their idea is not unique. It is, baby diapers, sanitary napkins, these are things which have been around for 40, 50 years. But in the adult hygiene space, the product they got into India, that also now is common, everybody has that. But when they came in, they were unique, so they were able to take some headway. So I think in a product which is not unique or a service which is not unique, what companies will be looking at is your track record. Have you been able to scale it up to a certain level, right? Is your model unique? For instance, do you have distribution efficiencies? Do you have manufacturing efficiencies or something like that? But if it is absolutely, let's say, undifferentiated, then why would somebody put money on it? That's the point. So I think in such cases, what you have to show them is your record, that over last 4 years, we moved from, let's say, 5 lakhs a month to 2 crores a month. Yeah, we opened so many geographies. In certain channels, we are the leaders. Something there has to be which you can show. There are companies which get funding. It's not that only unique ideas. Unique ideas can get funding easier. Yeah. All kinds of companies, masala companies get funded, soap companies get funded, everything gets funded. Now, if you're in soap, are you different? I mean, for instance, Kama created a new niche for itself. Yeah. At the same time, you could also be a mass category with manufacturing efficiencies, distribution efficiencies, like what Ghadi detergent did. So if Ghadi detergent today goes to ask for funding, they'll get all the funds, but they don't want it because they're profitable.
Okay.
Understand? I hope I've been able to answer the question.
Yes.
Great. Any other questions on point 2?
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yeah.
Sometimes the product could be unique.
Just speak a little louder, please.
Yeah. I'm saying sometimes the product can be very unique, and because the pilot test marketing, the pilot marketing gives that outcome that the product is liked and it is unique. But
Right.
however, can you replicate success model of one market to another? You need highly validated data for that, right? Like some big companies, for example, Ghadi could do that, right? Because they had the distribution in place, and they probably had the consumer data also. But for a bootstrapped startup, because you as a startup you have to invest in so many things, especially in product. There is packaging, there is manufacturing, and then there is constant haggling with vendors, because your starting volumes are small. You are not able to get economies of scale. So usually marketing and sampling and promotion takes a backseat. So without creating a buzz, how do you grow the market? So I mean, it's a even if the product is unique. Coming back to my question, even if the product is unique, but you have not been able to approach those many customers. So how do you know whether the product idea is scalable or not?
So coming to your product, which is a food product, while it is a little outside the scope of this presentation, but I think I'll answer that. In a food product, my experience tells me that if you are not a big brand, if you are a startup brand, then there is no way, particularly food, there is no, one is that obviously you have to get your TG absolutely right with whatever data you have. Your online data, your store data, whatever you have to get your TG right. For instance, we might think that our product is for the SEC A class target, TG. Actually, it might be liked by B class or C class. I don't know. It can be anything. So one, you have to get your TG right. The second thing which is very important is product sampling. Food product, मतलब जो आदमी का पेट होता है ना, वो बहुत गद्दार होता है. उसको अगर वो पसंद आ गया तो वो अपना पुराना ब्रांड छोड़ देगा. Right? But food is something with, particularly food. I'm not talking about things like perfumes or deodorants. Those are more the psyche is a little different there. But food is something, if somebody likes the taste, he or she will come back to eat that product. Right? So sampling is a must. Sampling is an absolute must. In today's times, obviously you can't do it. There are many other ways of making sure that the consumer tastes your product. If the taste is good, the consumer will remain with you. Yeah. So if somebody says my product is very good, but consumers are tasting, but they're not coming back, then there is something wrong with your product or your idea or your TG. Yeah. If it's an adult's product and we are trying the TG on teenagers, then it might be wrong. So you have to select your TG correctly and you have to make them eat. That's the way. Yeah. For food, there is no other way. You just by putting it on the store, it's not good. There are, so investing in promoters, investing in sampling is very, very important. And that takes money, unfortunately. Yeah. Any other question on point 2? We move to point 3. Okay. So point 3 is the team. The third thing that the investors look at is what is your team? Do you have the right knowledge, experience, and track record? Yeah. So for instance, if I were to start a FMCG business today, I can say that, I spent more than 2 decades in this business. So that gives a little bit of credibility. I still might fail, but that is a credibility. And here is a guy who knows this business. For instance, somebody else who's been a banker comes and says, I want to start a brand of tea. So the guys might think that, yaar, ye chai mein ja raha hai, but isko pata kya hai iske baare mein? Right? Then second is your track record. If you have been an entrepreneur before, how has your track record been? If you have not been an entrepreneur, if you have been a professional, how has your track record been? Your experience, your knowledge, this is very, very important. So if you don't have that, all those things, then it is important to get people on your team who have the right knowledge and experience. Right? Any questions on that? About the team? How do you get the team?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Will it not be ideal if your investor has the necessary strategic experience
Go
also?
ahead. Go ahead. I'm hearing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes. So if the investor, I mean, you know, if you are willing to part with some equity, and the investor comes with some experience of, for example, in our case, we badly need to scale up our volumes, sales volumes. And because we keep getting inquiries from different parts, when we have been present on e-commerce, so we know that there are certain regions where we don't have sales force in place, but we can get the necessary market there, you know, develop our critical. But is it not preferable to have investors who have the right strategic experience? For example, there are investors who have retired from FMCG or food companies, and they are likely to, you know, form an alliance. But how to reach them? So
that's my couple of, I mean, again, I would like to give this is purely my opinion. One is that investors can never be full-time people. Yeah, they can come and give you guidance. Like, for instance, I guide a couple of startups, but I can guide them. I cannot do their work. Right? I can tell them, bhai, aisa kar lo, aisa kar lo. मैं नीचे उतर के उनके साथ काम नहीं कर सकता. The working partners have to have solid experience and solid track record. Investors, of course, investors or guides or something, or people you can give a small equity can come and help. As far as retired people is concerned, if you are saying retired, somebody who's retired at 58, my suggestion is keep them as advisors, not as full-time. I mean, they won't be able to really help you scale up. Yeah, somebody who's given up a career at 45, probably. Yes. Yeah. You can get the expertise from there, but the execution implementation team has to be also good. Yeah. So you can say that I'm being advised by somebody who was a very senior guy in Nestle, right? So the advice is fine, but who are the guys who are going to do it on the ground? That's also important. You can also say that in 4 years I have built up the skills. See, at the end of the day, you know, when we do engineering for only 4 years, we do MBA for only 2 years, but it helps us all through the career. So you can say in the last 4 years or 3 years, whatever you've done, you have built up decent skills to do the business. But definitely the team, they will be looking at. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be an ornamental team. Yeah. It has to be a team which is actually playing a role. So for instance, let's say I'll go to the ex-CEO of Hindustan Lever and say, please be on my board. Yeah, that may give you some mileage. That's not going to be giving you huge mileage unless you say that he is a director on my company. That makes a difference, right? So getting the right team on board is important. Getting the right expertise is important. Yeah, for execution, you can see at some point of time, it can be different models. This is not one model at every stage. Every stage we have different models. Maybe to start with, you can get a retired guy who can help you build up the basics. Then you will have to get a younger guy who can do that and things like that. Yeah.
How an investor analyze or how an investor look for a team where a multiple founder versus single founder with the employees? Because sometimes multiple founders also have some differences between amongst them, or some other kind of issues created where the single founder is taking the things in one way. So there is already good and bad, pros and cons both places.
So from an investor's point of view, a single founder is always better because he has to deal with only one person. Having said that, it doesn't matter if you have a single or multiple founders, it doesn't matter. Yeah, but from an investor's point of view, if there is a single founder, it's better for them. They don't have to deal with too many people. Right. There is a question from Ekta that we did a startup in December 2018 and turnover more than 1 crore. Then pandemic came and now it's doing good. Yeah, investors will be quite okay with that because everybody knows that pandemic made a difference to everybody. So if the business is going up again, then it's fine. There's no issue. In fact, they will be happy to see that it's a good model and it is coming back to original. Okay. So we have 10 minutes more. Yeah, we have 10 minutes more. We go to question number 4. What are you planning to do with your money? Yeah, this is very important. So whenever an investor says, okay, I'm going to invest 10 crores or 5 crores or 20 crores, tell me what are you going to do with the money? Yeah. So your answers have to be very sharp and focused on this. And you should exactly know what you're going to do with the money. It's not just that पैसा आ गया तो मैं रख लूंगा, at least मेरा risk कम हो गया. No. They will want to know where are you using that money. Definitely not for salaries of directors. Yeah, they would expect, of course, yeah, some salaries of directors. They would expect the money to be put either behind brand building, marketing, product development, infrastructure, etc. Yeah, Aditi has a question. Yes, Aditi.
No, so after you finish, then I'll ask the question.
Please go ahead, no problem.
So I wanted to ask that, that's right. So say we want to raise X amount of money, then we need to tell our investors where exactly we are pooling those funds in. I have 2 questions. One, currently we are in the process of doing a financial modeling so that we can analyze and see where we stand, do a company valuation, and then according to that, we can ask for how much amount we want to raise.
Right.
Sometimes people say that, no, but you should have a number. And I'm like, how do I have a number? I can't say randomly 5 crore, 10 crore. How do I have a number without knowing my company valuation? So that's first question. And second, can we tell the investor just on a percentage basis or an approximate basis how we are, putting their funds in in which markets or in which departments that we want to grow in, or do we need to be very specific how the funds are being used?
So it depends on who is investing and what stage you are in. So if you are in early stage, then I think, for instance, I'll tell you, I have invested in a couple of startups. I've invested purely on the idea.
Right.
Idea and little bit thoda about founders ko dekh liya ye. So I've invested very small amounts, amounts.
Right.
Now, when I invested that amount, I was clear that this amount can go 10 times, this amount can become 0. So at an early stage investment, that's how the decisions are taken. The idea is good, or idea is the founders seem good, chalo dal do.
Right.
But as you go and seek higher investments, they will definitely want to see your financials, what you have been doing till date. Therefore, why do you need the money and where are you going to deploy it? 3, after deployment, how will the financials look? So a 5-year projection normally they ask for, right? As far as valuation is concerned, I think whenever you go to ask for money, first thing is get your valuation done.
Right.
Right. Once you do your valuation, then accordingly you have to see how much you want to divest.
Right.
How much, and there is something called a pre-money and post-money that you can read about it. So you want to, ideally, I would say that unless you are really cash strapped, initially you should not divest more than 24%.
How much, sir?
24%.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there are companies I know where the founders have only 2-3% left, everything else. But that is when the company is growing, you need more money, etc. Ultimately, valuation is what brings money to you. Yeah.
Right.
So you have higher valuation, you can exit and make your money and do something else. But there are people who don't want to exit, who want to run the company. Then it is better to divest less. Yeah?
Got it.
And remember, the higher your turnover and profit is, the higher valuation will get.
Right. Exactly.
So when you have to divest, you should go to a certain type turnover and then divest.
Okay.
Otherwise, you'll get nothing. You'll get crumbs.
Right. Okay. And so in a financial model, say after a company valuation and say we analyze how much funds we are looking to raise, after that, do we include that in our financial model and say, these funds we've got? So do we include that in our financial modeling?
Yes. When you make a 5-year projection, you say that
Right.
here we are today.
Okay.
This is how we are looking at. And so in that projection, you don't put the money, you make the P&L.
Yeah.
Right. So for instance, you will show that next year I will have so much loss, next year so much loss. Then the money is used for that.
Got it.
Fund those losses, basically.
Okay. Thank
So
you
that
so
is
much.
part of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other question on this?
Yeah.
Point
Yes,
4?
sir. Sir,
Yeah.
I have a question. So when you say contribution margin, typically product, right? So when
Yeah.
you are producing with smaller volumes, say we are manufacturing maybe 5,000 units per month right now. So that gives us lesser profitability, right? But tomorrow, unit profitability. But
Absolutely.
if we scale up and we are present in entire 700 outlets that are there in Delhi NCR, then
Right.
immediately our contribution margin will increase, right? So
Easily.
how do we explain this to the investor? Because
So
you
they-
can see the numbers, right?
So let me tell you, the investors are very smart people. They're all, US MBAs or chartered accountants or stuff like that. Even if you don't tell them, they will ask you. So the first thing that any financial modeling people, particularly in product companies, people look at is, one is your top line, which is your turnover. Two is your gross margin. Gross margin means your sales minus your variable cost, which exactly what you were saying. So let us say that you sell 10 units and on each unit you make 2 rupees. So on 10 units you make 20 rupees and your fixed costs are 40 rupees, right?
Yeah.
But the day you sell 20 units, your fixed cost will get covered, right? So the model has to be like that, that today we are making loss, but the moment the volume reaches this, we'll start making profit. They will look at it. They are pros at all this.
All right.
So even if you don't tell them, they will ask you all this. Also remember one thing, that the investors, particularly the venture capitalists and the PE funds, they are not great operations guys. They don't know anything about your business, but they are extremely sharp finance guys. They are mostly finance guys. So उनको नफा नुकसान बहुत समझ आता है.
Because at the moment we share P&L accounts and P&L projections,
Right.
then everything is out there in black and white, right? The cost of raw materials and
Yeah, you should not normally do that unless it is a very serious investment.
okay.
Sometimes some particularly what is called family houses,
Yeah.
they will ask you to show the presentation, everything, and then they'll copy that model and produce the product themselves.
Oh,
So हमारे हिंदुस्तानी भाई ऐसा करते हैं.
I know.
It will not happen with multinationals. They will not do it, but अपने जो भाई होते हैं वो कर लेते हैं. So you should not show everything unless you know that this is a serious investor.
Right, sir. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other question? I think somebody has raised hand.
Yeah.
Akshita. Yeah, Akshita.
My question is, based on your experience in terms of investment, for a startup, maybe 2 years, 3 years into the business, how much should they be, or what is the right stage would you say they should be looking out for investment? And can you give some idea or inputs on, let's say X amount is your current turnover, okay, and ABCD is the way you need to break up so that you make sure that you're maybe scaling or doing a break even much faster, because the market keeps changing. So you need to keep adjusting a lot of things. But at least, is there a say percentage breakup that you can suggest, that okay, let's say if your turnover is say 50 lakhs, okay, so this is how much you should keep for your production, this is how much you can keep for your marketing, advertising, or say labor or XYZ, and make sure that at least this and this percentage is your profit margin, where this will give you more this will be something that the investor will be interested, that okay, if these are your scores, then he will be willing to invest in future or something like that.
Okay, it's not a very straight cut answer to your question, but just as a very rough benchmark, I would say that the moment you hit a turnover of 1 crore per month, that is the right time to go out looking for a venture fund or venture capital. As far as the investment is concerned, if you're a product, not a service, then most of your money that you are going to raise has to go in building up your volumes, provided your gross margin is healthy. Gross margin means your selling price minus your variable cost, which is your raw material and your factory overheads. Yeah, we are not talking investment right now. That's a separate thing. So basically, if you have to make a toffee, now the raw material used in the toffee plus the labor plus the electricity used to make, less the selling price is your contribution or the gross margin. Now that as the volumes go up, your margins will also go up. All right. So at that point, at the gross margin, typically a gross margin of 35 to 40% is a good gross margin. As long as that margin is there, then you can scale up. And then even if you're losing money, they know that at some point of time, your volumes will take care of your profitability. Right? What you should spend on is to get the volumes. How do you get the volume? By investing in marketing, distribution, trade, etc. Not so much in the back end. Back end, typically, you don't make investments every year, unless it's a very high technology product.
Okay.
Or your volumes are really doing well, you want to invest in another factory. That's another thing. That you have invested in a factory, it is like fully done and your volumes are really growing, then you invest in more machinery. But typically in products, we have seen most important thing is building the volumes.
Okay.
Right?
Thanks.
Okay, I think we are at the end of the program now. So the last point is a 5-year business projection and P&L sheet, as we were just discussing. This is very important. All investors will look at it and be always very truthful in this. See, people have a habit of hiding, making half truths. Believe me, these guys sitting out there are very intelligent people. You cannot bluff with them. So always be truthful, always be straight and to the point on them. Of course, it's like this, you can always dress up to look good, but if you have an inherent, fault, you can't hide it. Yeah. So a pitch projection has to be, you have to dress it up properly. Dress it up doesn't mean you have to tell lies, but showcase it nicely. Yeah. So it's like if a shop is well decorated, people like to get inside. If the shop is not decorated, you don't like to get inside. So the P&L and projection sheet should be nicely embellished, but be truthful because they will find out, because they also do a due diligence. The moment they tell you, okay, fine, we are interested, then they'll do a due diligence in the market, which is done by companies like ours. So we will find out what you've been at. Right? So be truthful, be honest, and have correct projections which you really are confident that you are going to achieve. You cannot bluff these guys. They are pretty smart. That's the point. The investors are very smart. They are not going to put their money just like that. Okay, any questions? Yeah, two participants. Okay, one is Ramakrishna and one is Akshita. Ramakrishna, yeah?
Yeah, sir, I just wanted to ask a question. So we had a roadmap for 5 years and also P&L projections for 5 years.
Right.
So actually, we are not into operations yet. We are at the seed stage. So basically the P&L and everything consists of the goal settings. So what are the projections are. So how it is possible that if we have that, if you want to run an e-commerce, the revenue projections are very important. And so the revenue capital is important. So we are looking for a revenue capital. So if it is high, how the investors look into our idea?
When you say revenue capital, can you just elaborate? I didn't understand.
Yeah, it's about the operations, how handling the operations, logistics.
Okay. So investing into the back end. Yeah. So as I told you, Ramakrishna, if your idea is strong, now here you don't have a proven business model, but you have an idea. You will have to convince these guys that your idea is good. If you are able to convince, then I don't think there's an issue.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir.
So you have to focus on the idea that this is a unique idea. Nobody is doing it. This is the forecast. This is the potential. This is what the P&L could look like. Yeah, and here I think people will put some small money here, or somebody who is foresighted, who might see potential in your idea, will put big money.
Okay.
But normally the bigger money comes only after you have a tested model. Or they might say, okay, you take this money and test it out in a 6-month period and show us the result.
So if we have show any trial run cases where they are successful or it is doing good, how is the probability then?
Yeah, that will work. Also, what has happened is, see, if you had gone with the idea 10 years back or 8 years back, there would have been 20 people running after you with money. Today, time has changed. It's not so easy to raise money.
Okay.
But basically, you will get your money on your idea. Okay, there are 2 more questions, I think.
Vidhi has a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
yeah. May I ask a question again related to food products, packaged snacks?
Yeah.
Basically, we have certain packaging and merchandising ideas, but which cannot be executed right now because of lack of funds. Clearly, we have to prioritize our spends, and then is it a good idea to carry prototypes to convince our?
Oh yes, always. One picture speaks more than 100 words. Absolutely.
Right.
Any more questions?
Bhagesh Azad. Bhagesh, can you have your question?
Yeah. Hi, sir.
Hello.
I am audible.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. Hi, my name is Bhagesh. Actually, मेरा idea है influencer के related, marketing के related. So मैं last 2 years से मैं digital marketing plus tech services provide कर रहा हूँ, artificial intelligence और all that stuff. But last year what happened कि influencers मेरे साथ 70+ collaborate हुए थे और उनके थ्रू मैंने 5 companies का branding और marketing करवाया था और they got very good results. एंड मेरा रेवेन्यू भी बहुत ही अच्छा उससे जनरेट हुआ, ऑलमोस्ट 15 लाख. सो दैट इज द ऑफलाइन प्रोसेस. इसके मैंने ऑफलाइन ये सब किया था. अब राइट नाउ मैं एक प्लेटफॉर्म बना रहा हूँ जिसपे 10,000 जितने इन्फ्लुएंसर्स डिवाइडेड बाय देम कैटेगरी एंड बाय देम जियोग्राफिकल प्लेस डिवाइडेड बाय देम इन्फ्लुएंसिंग, मतलब कि उनके फॉलोअर्स कितने हैं उसके हिसाब से मैंने उनको डिवाइड किया और एक प्लेटफॉर्म में बना रहा हूँ. सो अगर मैं अभी तो राइट नाउ इट्स कॉल लाइक ये नया प्लेटफॉर्म है पर मैंने ऑफलाइन मैंने कर चुका है. तो मतलब वो लोग वो ऑफलाइन जो मैंने किया हुआ है बिजनेस वो भी उनको काउंट करेंगे या फिर एज अ न्यू प्लेटफॉर्म ही उनको ये काउंट करेंगे कि भाई ये नया ही है?
नहीं, पुराना भी अगर रिलेटेड काम है तो उसमें कुछ नहीं है. अगर आप कोई नई चीज कर रहे हैं विच इज रिलेटेड टू योर प्रीवियस वर्क, दैट इज काउंटेड. फॉर इंस्टेंस अगर मैं पहले फैशन अपैरल रिटेल में था और अब मैंने ऑनलाइन रिटेल शुरू किया तो वो रिलेटेड है. दे अंडरस्टैंड दैट यू कम फ्रॉम द बिजनेस.
Okay, sir. So that's my, yeah, sir. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions?
I have a small clarification. Recently, my name is Meera. There was a government announcement regarding the Startup India giving the seed fund for organizations which have which are for the early stage investments from the government side. I think they are offering some 50 lakhs or something for that. Right. Now, what I do want to clarify is that my organization is a startup which was, as a company, it was registered in February 2019. However, that time we had started more as a consulting firm and with one of the elements as a learning and development. Now we moved that away from and completely focused on L&D, and this has been, we received the DIPP registration and things like that was done in the month of December 2020. So almost a year and a half, almost nearly 2 years after the registration of the company. But what I do see is that the basic eligibility for the Startup India program, they're saying 2 years incorporation. So does our company come into a model where, we could take it from the date of DIPP, or it will be?
So I have not actually followed this government circular, but incorporation means, are you a private limited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Private limited company.
So private limited incorporation means the day you have been, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs has declared you a private limited. Right. So if that is 2019, then 2 years from there.
So it's just missed that 2 years bus over
Sorry?
the 2 years. It's just missed. I mean, that 2-year criteria, we have just crossed that.
You can still probably go back to them. Nowadays, particularly in terms of entrepreneurship, the government has become a little friendly. So maybe you can write to them and understand. I'm not aware of this circular, so I won't be the right person to comment. But incorporation is the day you became a private.
Right. No, that's how the criteria is shown. So I was just wondering if there is any flexibility. Does it take from DIPP dates registration? Or
I'm not really sure, but my suggestion is write to them. And nowadays, I'm seeing that particularly Ministry of Corporate Affairs and all, they are very helpful.
Okay. Thank you.
So I think you can go to their site and write to them. You'll get an answer quickly.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, friends. This is my email ID. If anyone